Hello everyone, and thank you for watching my 248 video tutorial. In the previous lecture we have added this grid to our scene using Unity built-in grid layout component. So I'll go to our game field and we have tried to play with the settings a little bit, but we have also seen that this approach won't work in our case because these cells that are controlled by Unity grid layout group script will not stretch while we stretch our panel like this, so they will just stick to one corner and there is not much that we can do about it. So instead of using this grid layout group script, we will use the script that we have in our assets folder that's called auto grid layout. I will go to my game field and I will remove this grid layout group, and instead I will attach this auto grid layout script. One cool way of doing this is I can just click on it and I will drag it straight into the inspector, and when it shows me this icon with a plus sign I will release. This will add this script to our game field. Auto grid layout script is very similar to the grid layout that we get in Unity. The only difference is that it will apply stretching to its tiles. So this first option is called isColumn, is just a type of a constraint, so I have to check that, and we have just 4 columns, so I will hit 4. We have no spacing right now, and we see that all our images just stick together in the game view. So I will introduce 5 pixels of spacing in each direction and also 5 pixels of padding like this. And that's everything we have to do to configure the script. So right now if I go to our panel and zoom out a little bit and I start to resize our layout, we can see that our game field stretches, and with our game field all the tiles also stretch. This is already a bit better, but this is still not the effect that we are after, because we want our game field to remain of a square shape in all conditions. Unity has a tool that we can use to achieve this effect. I can go and select our game field and I will want to add another component to it. I will go to add component, and if for some reason you don't remember in which of the menus you should look for your desired component, you can just go to this search bar and search for the component that you're looking for. Right now I'm looking for an aspect ratio feeder, and if I just type in ASP, we get that. So I'll hit on aspect ratio feeder and it will automatically attach it to our game field. It's a very simple script that has just 2 settings. In the second setting we have the desired aspect ratio, which I will set to 1. And in the first setting we have these different options. We can try to apply all these settings to our game field one by one and see the effect that they cause, but I think we will just skip this part and I will tell you that we will use this fit in parent option, and it does exactly what it says, but after I have selected fit in parent I will have to modify our aspect ratio because for some reason it set it to a value different than 1, so I will hit 1 once again. What this fit in parent does is it makes our game field always fit in its parent, and right now the parent of our game field is this panel. So I will go to panel and try to resize it, and we can see that this game field always touches the edges of our panel, and no matter how I stretch, distort or maybe shrink this panel, we can see that our game field touches the borders of our panel. So we can use this fit in parent aspect ratio effect that we have applied to our game field, except that now we have to create a new parent, which will be an empty game object. So I will go to our panel and I will right click and hit create empty, which will create an empty rectangle, and I will resize it so that it shows where we want our game field to be, for example like this. And now I will rename this object. I will call it game field parent, and I will grab my game field and I'm going to drag it on top of a game field parent, which will make it a child of the game field parent. And another thing that we'd like to do is I would like to change the anchoring preset of our game field parent so that it behaves and stretches like our game field was previously stretching. I will zoom in to be more precise with the anchoring. I'll make it so that it won't interfere with our button, and I will move these anchors accordingly. And in the lower part I'll make it also a bit smaller and move the anchors. Seems alright to me, so let's go to our panel and try to resize it. And right now we can see that this is just the effect that we were going after. No matter how we resize it, our game field remains square, but it also stretches. And if I stretch our panel and I go to our game field parent, we can see that the game field parent stretches to this extent, so it stretches across the whole panel, but our game field remains fit into this empty game object that we have previously created, and it maintains the aspect ratio of 1. So in this lecture, with the help of our AutoGrid layout script, we have assembled this grid that will stretch and maintain aspect ratio at the same time. And the only thing that we have to do right now is we have to add these numbered tiles to our game field. And the way that we are designing this application is we want to add a numbered tile to every single cell on the game field. But this is going to be a subject of our next lecture. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.